We are live for episode number 97, Empire State of Baseball, Monday, August the 12th, 2024, airing on Instagram, X, and YouTube, and as always, powered by StreamYard. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another edition of VSB here on a Monday evening. Tom, what's going on? How was your weekend, pal?
Pretty solid. Weather was nice. Got to do some little bit of stuff outdoors, some fun stuff, some like weeding, which is never fun, but you know, got to get it done. Yeah, it was a good weekend. What about you guys?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like the weeding there too, because finally I have been meaning to mow this lawn for about 2 or 3 weeks. Finally, we got a break in the weather. Beautiful weather, got some beach time in, a bunch of other stuff going on. So, but it was a good weekend, just too quick, as it always is.
Yeah, we had a good weekend. It was my wife and I's 3-year anniversary, so we had a good weekend celebrating that. I had an even better weekend realizing that somebody's going to put up with me for 3 years, going on 7 years dating.
I was going to say, Joe, we might be actually getting rid of you on the show after this year because 2 years has been too much. So,
seriously. But all right. Well, listen, congrats to Joe. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's crazy. We're already kind of winding down summer here. I got a hint of when the pumpkin spice lattes launch over at Dunkin' and Starbucks already.
It's too early.
Never too early.
Quickly counting down the days of fall. But shout out to the folks in here. We'll do our quick run through our chat here. Shout out to Big Slick. Big Slick, our first person in here at 7:21 p.m. Eastern time. Shout out to my guy Big Slick. Jacob Petruzzi, smack that like and sub button for the fellas on your way in. Appreciate you, Jacob. Mez, there we go. We got some Mets folks in the building. Shout out to Mez. Thanks for tuning in. Aaron Rodgers is in the house. We got Hitman over from Boogie Nights. What's going on, Hitman? So we're getting the fellas and ladies in here. And shout out to H.O. We haven't seen H.O. in a while. And our guy Pars. What's going on, Pars? It looks like we do have some issues with X right now, so we're gonna try to get that correct.
We knew that was coming.
I don't know what's going on with X, to be frank, but we'll try to get that going until I figure out what's happening over on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Tom's got
maybe
some finally
just
friends.
I was gonna say maybe it's just finally crashing and we can just be done with it. That would have been it'd be a positive for society if we did.
I think people run because not to get political or anything, but Elon and Donald Trump are hosting their space, and I can't even click into that right now. So I think I think we've reached the limit of what X is capable of. So if
maybe it just burns down then.
YouTube.
I've never seen this issue pop up with X before. This is crazy, but yeah, X is currently not letting us go live on the channel right now. It's crazy, but until I kind of navigate through that and find the back door, Tom, what's the latest over at friends over at Roback?
Listen, I see some of the comments out there. I'm not wearing the Roback poll today just because I'm wearing a buttery soft Roback t-shirt. This is just a regular tee out there. Let me tell you, I will guarantee to our audience out there, you don't have a more comfortable, softer, better feeling t-shirt than the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now from Roback. Joe has a beautiful blue polo on as well. If you don't know Roback yet, they make the incredibly soft polos. It makes Q-zips, hoodies, t-shirts, bathing suits, joggers, shorts, all different kinds of stuff. And I know not polos. Polos are kind of like their main game. That's not for everyone. So if you're looking for more like a casual t-shirt, a workout t-shirt, or just one to wear around, head over to roback.com. Save yourself 15% off your first order using promo code TWOSPIL15. They are still running a ton of items in their last call section that are already 30% off. So you could stack that 15%. And I'm looking through here. They got t-shirts in there. They got long sleeve shirts. They got, the Q-zips, the hoodies, hats, all kinds of different stuff. So head over there if you're looking to save a buck. Get the 30% and then the 15 on top. Promo code TWOSPIL15.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. That X is down right now, but you know what? The show goes on.
Show goes on.
And as Tom says, head over to Roback. Wospil 15 is the code. And speaking of, let's take a look at our Roback rundown. We're gonna get things kicked off with the Empire Express. Go through some Mets Yankees notes. We're gonna touch on the Olympics as the Summer Olympics did come to a close yesterday. But we're gonna look ahead to 2028 and baseball's potential involvement in the festivities in LA in 4 years' time. Then we got Chooch's pick of the week. Chooch is off-site for Chooch's pick of the week, so I'm excited to see where he's coming from this time. A couple weeks ago, he was at the beach. Looks like he's got a beautiful lake behind him, or a river, or whatever body of water. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Then the bit that I'm most excited about for tonight is our Creator Spotlight. We haven't done a Creator Spotlight over a month, and I'm so happy to have Keef over from Shea and Sons podcast to join us and get the Mets folks involved in the chat. We already saw Mez in there. Hopefully we get some more Mets faithful here in our chat that's been so Yankee dominant essentially since the season kicked off. So shout out to Keef. We'll talk to Keef in about a half hour. And finally, we're going to end things with our trick of the trade ESB game. I built up some ground on the standings after last week's lineup card, so we're keeping this a little tighter now. So Tom and Corey better watch out because Joe and I are coming for you guys. So we'll see how that goes on Trick of the Trade later on.
It looks like the owner of X has crashed his own live stream. So we are not the only people having issues with the X. The guys that are crashing X have crashed their own live stream. You can't even join it right now.
It's almost like if you wouldn't have fired like half your technical people, that maybe wouldn't have happened. Just an idea.
It's wild scene right now, but I sent out the YouTube link, so if you have anybody trying to watch on X,
let's put out the extra emphasis that that Instagram and YouTube are still working on our end, especially the YouTube front, but we got more on that later on. But let's get into our Empire Express. We're going to kick things off on a very New York Mets-centric show with the New York Metropolitans, of course. The Mets are a half a game out of wild card 3. Tough weekend for them, getting swept by the Seattle Mariners, a solid team out in the American League West. The Mets have kind of just been up and down since the month kicked off in August. But Joe, what's your thoughts? And we'll throw it over to Corey Favs on these New York Mets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough West Coast trip. I mean, they had to have a makeup game in St. Louis. So they literally went to 4 different cities in a span of like 5 or 6 days, something like that. So that's tough. No matter what, they left a game out there, at least with the Angels, maybe even 2 games. You could argue with the Angels. They walked into Seattle. Seattle's hot right now. They got great pitching. It's the end of a long road trip. That's a tough place to go in at the end leg of the road trip. And I'm not at gloom and doom right now. After being swept by the Mariners, we're only a half game back in the wild card. Am I gloom and doom? No. Am I encouraged at the moment? No, not at all. Severino's been bad. Ottavino's got to go. I don't know how many times I have to say this. That guy cannot get a big out ever. All right. The fact that he is still on this team is an absolute nightmare. I mean, every single time he comes in, I know they got guys coming back healthy very shortly, but Reed Garrett just came back the other day. But Ottavino's got it. Ottavino's done. And at the end of the day, the Mets have to hit. Their pitching staff does not have the kind of arms that can carry them to wins. This team has to hit. This team has to play well, and the offense has to click. I'm hoping a day off today, a reset, back home. That's going to restart the fire in them a little bit, but not really a great couple of days for the Mets.
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit discouraged coming out of that series too, because that whole West Coast trip, I really wanted this team to go 7-3. That was my goal. Go out there, sweep one of those series against the bad teams, win 2 of 3 versus the Mariners, win that solo game versus the Cardinals, come out 7-3. And they ended up going 4-6. So literally the complete opposite. It was a losing series for them. But the crazy thing is, in all of this, I mean, you want to talk about the Mets having a disappointing week. It's the other teams in the Mets division are also having a really disappointing stretch, because somehow in this stretch where the Mets went 4-6 on the West Coast, they actually gained a game in the wild card. That's because the Atlanta Braves are completely ice cold. So right now the Braves are wild card 3. Mets are a half game behind them as we speak right now. Braves are 3-7 in their last 10, so they're having a rough stretch. And the Phillies, too. I mean, listen, this time last week, Mets were about 7.5 games. It's been going up to 7, down to 8, somewhere in that mix. Right now, I think they're 8 games back, if I remember correctly. So pretty much right there, exactly where they were this time last week. So the Mets really haven't been losing ground. Again, they gained a half game in the wild card since our last show. It's just disappointing when you see the other teams, though, in the wild card, the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Those two teams are absolutely red hot. But this is sustainable. That's the thing. I don't know if they can sustain it the whole way.
So interesting tidbit. I was doing some research in here. Arizona, Atlanta, and the Mets are in consecutive orders the 17th, 18th, and 19th technically hardest schedules left. So that essentially their strength of schedule, they're all basically equal going forward. San Diego does have a bit of an advantage with a little bit of an easier path than the other three, but the other three are basically the same. So I mean, it's really going to come down to who gets hot and who's gonna. We've been saying it. So one of these teams or two of these teams are going to get hot. And they're going to go on a streak where they win 8 of 10. They win 9 of 13. And that's what you need, I think, to make the playoffs at this point. Someone's going to do it, and the Mets, they have as much of a chance as anyone else.
I mean, the bottom line is they got the Athletics coming in here, and they got the Marlins coming in here, 2 dead teams. You have to go 5-1.
There's no reason not to.
Minimum against these 2 teams, and then the Mets' schedule for the next 10 games after that is 3 with the O's, 4 with the Padres in San Diego, and 3 with the Diamondbacks. So if you are a Met team or the Diamondbacks or the Padres and you want to send a message at who controls the wild card race in this year in the NL, that's the place that you're going to make the statement. The Mets cannot walk into San Diego and lose 3 out of 4 or get swept. They must at least split that series with the Padres, and they got to win 2 out of 3 with the Diamondbacks, and then it's anybody's game in that point. But this is a crucial stretch. That's a tough 10-game trip. They get a break coming back. They get the White Sox coming back, but that's a 10-game trip that's going to decide your season. If the Mets are for real, they have to walk out of that next West Coast swing at the minimum of those 7 games. They need to be 4-3 in those 7 games against 2 of the wild card teams that they're chasing.
I will make this note. We did get through to X, so we are back live on X. So it's Donald Trump space and it's Empire State of Baseball. That's it. That's all I heard.
There we go.
From what I understand, that's the only 2 active streams that are going on Twitter right now. So let's try to get some more folks in here. Blast that link out to your friends and family, especially the Met fans out there. We have Keef over at Shea & Sons, who's joining us later at around 8:30, 8:35. So definitely don't want to miss it. And shout out to the folks that just joined us here. Lauren, shout out to Lauren. Appreciate the love. And Chris Evis over at Yankees Pod, ESP Monday Nights. What's up, boys? What's up, Chris? Hope everything is well. All right. I'll just throw this one in here from Hitman. Mets have to sweep the Padres and win the series against the Diamondbacks to make.
That would be something. And I'll tell you what, to go to Joe and Tom's point, you talk about that 10-game series and then Tom with the 8 of 2 stretch. If that's a stretch, the Mets want to go 8 of 10. All right, I'll take that right there because that all of a sudden sets them up. They come out of that series. They play the White Sox. You have a month left in the season. That's where you want the 8-2 stretches, that gauntlet series at the end of this month.
That's it. All right.
Take care of business against the teams. You got to take care of business first.
Let's take it over to the New York Yankees side of the house. And Thomas, the Yankees and Orioles are at once again another tie for first in the American League East at 70 and 49. The Yankees just kicked off their first pitch with that's weird to say kick off their first pitch. First pitch was just done over at who is it now? US Cellular. I forget. They go through so many different names, but they're in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox for a 3-game set. But the Yankees are coming in 70 and 49. And we've talked about this several times. As far as the race goes between the Yankees and Orioles, I don't think you're going to see anything more than 3 games of separation as we continue on to the stretch run for the American League East. and the rest of baseball and a lot of the close races that are going on. But Tom, what are your thoughts on the Yankees and their recent play?
And the Yankees, like, it's similar to strength of schedule stuff I was just bringing up. They have an easier schedule than the Orioles do. And when they're playing teams like the White Sox, they have to sweep these series. They should. It was losing last week was really frustrating. They had 2 doubleheaders. It's really hard to sweep doubleheaders. They split both of them. Then they lost the other game to the Angels to lose that series. It's a series that I think normally if it's played out over 3 days, the Yankees win at least 2 out of 3. They did take 2 out of 3 from Texas, but maybe could have swept them if you don't have the doubleheader stuff. Yankees do need to get that. I think they do need to end up at the end of this month with like a 3-game lead. I think they need a little bit of a cushion. They have 3 games left with Baltimore, and I think you need to build up a little bit. They are looking better. Pitching looking better. Rodon has continued some strong pitching. Stroman looked better over the weekend. Bullpen shaky with what Holmes did to us again yesterday. But that kind of is what it is. There's no other option. There's no other closer to bring in. You're not really gonna just do. I don't think they're just gonna play matchups. Clay Holmes is the closer, and if he's pitching well, then that's good. If he's not, then better hope the Yankees are scoring 9 runs a game in the playoffs, 100%. Because it's gonna take years off of all our lives if they're not.
If we're just addressing that last game against Texas on Sunday, I mean, let's think about it. Clay Holmes shouldn't even been in that game to begin with.
No.
When you're leading 6-1 and then 8-3, there should be no avenue where a high leverage reliever enters the game. And I was kind of making this argument on one of the spaces
pitches too.
On one of the spaces yesterday. That too. And well, here's the other thing there, real quick before I get to the other point now. One thing the Yankees did that they haven't done much of with Clay Holmes on the mound is they had another pitcher warming up in the bullpen. And I kind of hate the idea, and not just the Yankees do this, a lot of teams in baseball do this, where they put their 9th inning guy on the mound, and they're left on that island to either succeed or fail. There's never a backup, it seems. And maybe Corey Joe, maybe you could speak on it on the Mets side of the house. Does it ever seem when Edwin Diaz is on the mound and he's going through his struggles, there's nobody in the bullpen ready to come into that game?
I mean, it's tough. You're in that situation. You expect the closer to get through it. And I think one of the hardest things for the manager is realizing when your elite player is out there and doesn't have it. We saw Chapman was a good example with the Yankees. You could almost tell right away when Chapman didn't have it, or Holmes is another
first
one.
pitch, you knew.
Right. You know if that first pitch slider is 5 feet outside or that fastball's rising up beyond his control, you knew he wasn't going to be effective. Diaz, it's a little harder to tell because Diaz will kind of work himself. Diaz will get 2 outs and then walk 2 guys in a row, and all of a sudden we got a problem. You don't really realize it's coming, and then the manager's got to decide, well, do I go get him with 2 outs when he hasn't given up a run? Holmes is one of those guys that he works around trouble even when he's at his best. He puts guys on. So Boone, I feel for Boone in that situation because it's really hard to tell if that's just Clay Holmes being Clay Holmes, which is working with traffic, working out of trouble, or if Clay Holmes just straight up does not have it. I don't know if there's a clear sign for him because he just works like that on a regular basis.
I think at least my theory about it is at this point is Boone and the Yankees need to let Holmes get himself out of these matchups, because if they have thoughts of winning the World Series, he needs to pitch well. So I think they let him in that game yesterday to say, listen, there's going to be a time, probably in the playoffs where we might need 45 pitches out of you. We might need you to go, 2 innings. And you know what? Let's figure it out now. And because if you don't have it, we can come up with plans.
I think he finished off with, I'm not mistaken, I think he finished off with about 54 pitches yesterday.
That's a lot.
I thought it was 45 was the end total. I could be wrong.
I think it was 49 going into that last at bat against Tavares, and they had the lefty up. And I understand Tavares to switch it. Again, things could also change. Win's a win. You brought Tim Hill into that situation. Who knows? He might spike the ball. He might give up a 3-run home run, and the game's blown. I was just, it does seem like even if the guy's at 75 pitches, as the tying runs on base and he hasn't scored yet, Clay Holmes is staying out in that game. And I just don't know if that's the proper way to manage your bullpen and manage your 9th inning guy.
That's true. I think
what's the other option though? What would you rather than do?
I think they're going to have to. Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to say, too, a lot of times it all depends on the game flow also. It's different if you have your starting pitcher going 8 innings and the closer's your first guy out of the pen. And if he's struggling, all right, I'm going to go to my setup man. A lot of these games now, the starters are not going deep, especially in a game with a lot of runs. The closer might be the 4th reliever to enter that game. So you're going to a guy who's like maybe typically your 3rd or 4th option out of the pen, now asking him to save it and close the door when you have multiple guys on base in a jam. So a lot of it, too, I think depends on the situation and the game flow. And it's a lot easier to make that change if the closer is only your 1st or 2nd option that day, as opposed to a high-scoring game where he's already your 4th pitcher out there.
I think they use basically their other 3 best relievers right before him.
Yep.
At this point.
I think they're going to have to start playing matchups. I just don't think you can trust Holmes in a big spot. I think if you see a situation arise, Astros are in first place again. Chances of the Yankees running into the Astros in the postseason right now are going to be pretty high. Do you trust Holmes to get Altuve, Bregman, and Yordan out
as much as anyone else in that bullpen?
That's what I was going to say. My question would be, who do you trust then? And that's the tough part that the Yankees are in.
I don't know.
Leiter Jr., who had looked
scored
good
9
in his
runs
first
a game,
couple appearances, had allowed 2 home runs up until yesterday's game, and then he allowed 2 home runs in the same inning. When his breaking stuff isn't working, he's gonna be hit hard. Michael Tonkin seemed to have fallen back to the pitcher that was DFA'd by the Mets. Tim Hill, as good as he's been, he's the Yankees' lone lefty option who's been DFA'd by multiple teams. They acquired Enyel De Los Santos for no freaking reason if they're not going to use the guy who's got a high ERA with the Padres. So there's not really a pitch. Maybe Luke Weaver's the only one, but he got roughed up on Saturday. So
he got roughed up yesterday too. He already was in that game.
Well, I was saying Luke Weaver on the Saturday game.
Yeah, but I'm saying yesterday he wasn't an option with Holmes. He was already
he didn't become an option. So it's going to be a theme. And I can tell you right now, in a playoff run for the Yankees, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2 games lost because of the bullpen and how it was managed.
Probably,
it would not shock me one bit. But we'll move on from the Yankee stuff. With things going on the way they're going on, we're still monitoring a very close AL East. But there was one thing I did want to talk about on the Empire Express before we flip over to Chooch's pick of the week, and that is the Summer Olympics, which is something that we kind of talked about in our intro last week, but didn't get fully into. But Jeff Passan puts out this tweet over the weekend. The best athletes in the world performing at their apex is what the Olympics is all about. And it's exactly why Major League Baseball needs to do all it can to get baseball back into the 28 games and allow big leaguers to participate. The NBA showed the way. MLB must follow. And I'll go around the room here with your guys' thoughts on this. And again, this will probably be a little bit of copy and paste from last week in our opener, but I think there's credence to we need to see baseball in some capacity back into the Olympics. Corey, Joe, and then we'll go to Tom.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that the NBA has it easy in the sense that it's right in the middle of their offseason. MLB, it's in the middle of the season. And we discussed it a little bit last week. And Tom, I think you said it perfectly on Twitter yesterday in response to Jeff, is that in order for this to happen is, 1, eliminate the whole All-Star week. And you have to extend the week out by another season because you're going to give yourself probably a 2-week gap now in the middle of the season where you have to get this done. Me personally, I would love it. I say that now, though, as much as I would love it and want the U.S. to win, the minute an Edwin Diaz situation hurts where one of my star players, and especially if my team's right in the middle of a postseason run, if I have a star player get hurt, I'm going to be so furious and not watch a single game of that Olympics the rest of the way. But with that said, I would like to see it. It's possible, but the MLB has to tweak their season. I also think it eliminates the need, again, mentioned this last week, eliminates the whole WBC. I don't really, WBC is fun. It's exciting. I know you have the World Cup for soccer, but this is different. The WC was just invented just less than 2 decades ago. I think 2006 was the first one. This would essentially replace the WBC in my eyes. And I think it would be a better way to go about doing it too. With the Olympics, it means something more than a made-up tournament from just a few years ago.
The WBC is a tournament for baseball fans. The Olympics is a tournament for the world. You have baseball in LA in the Olympics in LA in 2028. America is the birthplace of baseball. we need to showcase in baseball's home country the best version of baseball that we can produce. In this situation, baseball fans watch the WBC. You have a chance with the Olympics to open up baseball to the world that does not watch baseball on a regular basis. You have a chance to showcase the world's greatest athletes in the game of baseball in the home country. MLB needs to make it happen. They need to cancel the All-Star break. They can scale back the season to 154 games for the Olympic season. The athletes that participate will play roughly the same amount of games that they would in 162. And it needs to be shown to everybody in the baseball world that this is how you grow the game. I mean, think about a final. We had the final of the USA versus Japan in the World Baseball Classic. Think of that final in the gold medal game in the Olympics at Dodger Stadium with Ohtani and Trout, and who knows if Trout.
Whoa.
You know, but
Trout's going to be healthy.
Yeah,
the middle of the season, not the beginning of the season.
But think about that. That is the showcase baseball needs to bring in an entirely new generation of fans into the game. They need to take advantage of it. It's 1 year. Everybody needs to play ball. Everybody's going to be in the season. You're not going to have to travel to some random country to do it. You have to. It's in your hometown. The worst case scenario, everybody travels to the West Coast, to LA, San Diego, or San Francisco to play in these games. That is, baseball has to be on board. And there's other things that they can do. I think the Olympics should have a world home run derby. I think that would be awesome.
I love that.
Talk about that as an event.
Love that idea.
But this is a chance to make this a premier event for the world to showcase the game. I will never forget what the Olympic hockey did in 20. I think it was 2010 was the Winter Olympics. I was in college watching that.
Great.
Right.
That was a very upsetting game.
That gold medal game with U.S. versus Canada. I mean, I remember sitting there in my dorm with everybody watching that game. We got out of class early to go watch that game. Living and dying by the minute. Parisi scoring a goal with 30 seconds left, nearly jumping through the glass. Like that's as great as it gets. And this is a chance for baseball to show the world that we are not just an American sport. We're not just a Western Hemisphere sport, that we are a world sport and that we can put on a show equivalent to or greater than the NBA and the
So a couple of thoughts. MLB is not shortening the season. They're not going to do 154 games. I think you just eliminate the All-Star week and you extend the season. That gets you your 10, 11 days where you have to figure out this. It's not going to be a tournament that's going to have 16 teams, right? There's only so many countries that really play baseball that are going to want to end up 16. Qualify. I don't think I guess if you want, but like that, you need to make it probably a little quicker. I think what you do, and this is going to sound silly, you do it by Little League rules. You say, because the pitching is the issue, right? No one is worried about the hitters. You tell the pitchers have rules against pitches of how many pitches they can throw. If they throw this many pitches, they're not available for 2 days. If they throw this many pitches, they're not available for 3 days. And you do it that way, so you're not, the Team USA is not running out whoever. Certainly not Clay Holmes, but we'll say the Dominican Republic isn't just rolling out Edwin Diaz every day. There'd be rules against things like that.
Could you imagine the faith of the country being in the hands of Clay Holmes in the ninth inning against Japan
Listen,
in LA?
I think that's how you have to do it. You have to write it in that there's only a certain amount that they can play, and I think that would work. There's enough of a talent pool, at least for the big countries, that like, okay, hey, Dominican Republic, you can't have Edwin Diaz, but you have other guys who can close this game. Well, that's going to hurt like teams probably like Canada and ones that aren't as deep. But you know what? You're not going to win anyway, so too bad.
You'd have MLB. I mean, you're having MLB managers manage. They know what to push it, but you're in mid-season. You
have to get the players to sign off on this. And I don't think you're going to just let them. The players' union's not just going to sign off of like, well, we're just going to trust the manager to make this decision. That's not going to happen.
Well, and this is a stickler for the hockey, and this is something our buddy Rob can talk about. But for the hockey players, there's a deal struck. Hockey and NBA strike a deal with the IOC where if a player gets hurt, the IOC is basically covering the portion of the contract that these players, if a player gets hurt, the IOC is going to cover a portion of the contract for the time they miss. So that's the bottom line. But here's the thing. You're talking what? 8 games, maybe 10 games in a tournament. How many did men's basketball play? If anybody knows that off the top of their head, you can pop that in the chat.
7? No,
7?
6. They played.
Right.
They're in a pool of 4, so they played those games, and then they played quarters, semis, and the final. So they played 6 games.
6, maybe 7 at most. Guys, MLB players should be able to play 7 games without getting hurt. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
this is baseball. We got to be able to play 7 games.
You have to get the players. You have to get the players' unions to sign off on it, though. They're going to want something for that.
And you're playing for something big. Not to say that the WBC is not important, but it is a new concept. The Olympics have been a fixture in sports.
Also, you don't get rid of the WBC. You keep the WBC. It's not the same year as the Olympics. Yeah. And then you just, because the WBC is what baseball is trying to make equivalent to the World Cup. There's the World Cup.
What would be the point then? If you can
what's the point? There's the World Cup and the Olympics. Well, there's other tournaments. There's FIBA does World Championships and they do the Olympics.
And MLB gets their cut at the end of the day. I got you. No, you guys make great points. I think there's definitely legs for this to happen, and I would love to see this. And I think there's room for even us, because Joe brought up a great idea about a national home run derby. I think would be absolutely insane.
That would be a blast.
Gold medal winner Aaron Judge. Oh,
I would love to simulate that here on Empire State of Baseball, and that would be well. Awesome. But that'd be one hell of an idea. And let's send the Judge on representing the U.S. 100%.
Basketball just did this 3-on-3 thing, which I didn't like that. But I also think basketball should embrace like a 3-point contest in the Olympics. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, they could. It just
we got break dancing in the Olympics. Anybody watching that?
I can't
watch that joke.
There's a lot less athletic things happening in the Olympics than breakdancing.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's a contest. It's not. It's based off opinion, not.
So is gymnastics. So is all the equestrian stuff. So is all the diving, all the swimming. Like half the Olympics are judge things, skateboarding, all that stuff.
No sense in send the minor league all-stars and like MLB players. And off baseball note, I'm gonna say it right now. I got a prediction for a sport that you're gonna see in the Summer Olympics in 2028. Pickleball.
Yep.
I think pickleball will have a space by the 2028.
It's about time.
The process of adding it won't be in there yet, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. It takes a long time.
It's rising. You got ping pong. You got badminton. You're getting right there. Pickleball. It's right in.
I believe the home country is able to pick like a certain amount of sports.
Because we're going to have flag football. Flag football will be in the Olympics.
The flag football thing, by the way, if you guys think that the NFL is approving those players.
Oh, they're not.
Hell no.
Right before training camp to go play in a flag football tournament, I got something.
But that's also how baseball's going to be back. Baseball and softball will be back because the U.S. will put it back in.
Absolutely. Yes. Quick shout outs here. We're gonna move forward from the Empire Express, and we're gonna kick it over to Corey for funny enough our X spot, which is doing so well for us today. But shout out to some new listeners here. We have Floor I Am Nieves, who Chris has said that Chris said this is not a burner, so this is a different Nieves here. So shout out to Floor Iram, and then we have AP Cards losing, so that's a good thing. So shout out to our Met fans joining us. We appreciate it. Joey Bag of Donuts over at the Morning Dry. Shout out to Joey Bag of Donuts and Sierra. What's going on, Sierra? Thanks for jumping in. All righty, we're gonna get this thing going shortly with Chooch, but before we do that, Corey, what's the word over on X?
Yeah, no, listen. If you want to go ahead and watch us on X, we are the highest viewed show on X right now. No, just kidding. But go ahead and join us. We have 3,100 plus followers, continuing to grow. Follow us at ESB Podcast. We also have our subsidiary accounts where we talk a little more specifically about the Mets and Yankees. Go follow the Mets side at ESB NYM, the Yankee side at ESB NYY. You could also follow us all individually, myself at G Gory, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich J Rivera, and Tom at T Wospil. Again, we are the #1 ranked show. Our space tonight that Rich and Sierra host is going to be the top space on today's extreme. So go ahead and follow us.
Extra innings TBD. If we can get through, hopefully Trump and the fellas end early. But let's kick it over to Chooch, because I know Chooch's feed is working as far as I know. So Chooch's pick of the week. Let's see what Chooch has got for our series pick. Take it away, Chooch.
What's up, everyone? Chooch is back with Chooch's pick of the week, and just look at this view. It's a great view. This week, I'm here. I got the Royals versus the Twins, AL Central, spicy part of the season, wild card implications, possibly division implications. I'm going Royals taking the series, and my player to watch is Vinny Pasquantino. What do you guys got?
All right, so Vinny Pasquantino is the pick. See, Tom, he didn't choose Bobby Witt Jr. He didn't choose one of the great starters. He went with Pasquantino. That's a solid.
He went with the most Italian guy he could have chosen, though. So it does track for Chooch.
No. Listen,
that's ironic considering he looked like he was at Loch Ness.
Well, there you go. I didn't see no monster head pop up in the background, but Chooch is entering the week at a 13-11 record. The Royals and the Twins, I think, got underway. Yes, they're in the bottom of the second
6-2.
inning. I don't have
Twins.
What was that?
6-2 Twins right now.
Oh, okay. So that's not looking good already for Chooch. But Brady Singer on the bump against Pablo Lopez. I was going to say Pablo Sanchez back in the backyard baseball days. But Pablo Lopez is on the mound. So, folks, what's the thoughts here on Chooch's pick? Royals versus Twins. We'll go to Tom, then Joe, then Corey.
I was going to say Twins before you told me the score, so I'm just going to stick with it, and you're going to have to trust me. I was going to do it anyway.
Right. I like the Royals. I mean, I know the Yankee guys don't want to hear this. Bobby Witt's making a conversation for MVP.
No, he's not.
Stop. Oh my God, stop.
Tom, he's batting 340.
Stop that now.
He's hitting like
that's legit. That's
sure.
So
sure.
It is. They are rolling. I love Bobby Witt. He is absolutely on fire.
I'm going to go with the Royals just because I'm going to pretend I didn't see the score. So even though the Twins might have the advantage right now, I'm still saying Royals.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Corey Favs. I got Royals taking 2 out of 3. So with Corey, with the Chooch, and what is our guy HO? If Chooch was eaten by Nessie, at least we'd have proof. That's a damn good analysis there, HO. Really do appreciate it. And shout again, we got the Met fans coming in. Top Bunks in the building. Shout out to Top Bunk. Shout out to you guys. Everyone, go follow Empire State of Baseball. And I can't wait for Keef to join you guys. But lucky for you, Top Bunk, we are going to fulfill your wish after Tom lets us know about YouTube. Tom, what's the latest and greatest with YouTube?
All kinds of stuff. One, it's not crashing, so that's like a big positive.
100%.
What? YouTube is crashing too?
No.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, it's not crashing, unlike Twitter. So big positive for the old YouTube there. YouTube, there's a lot of different ways to watch our show, but YouTube is our preferred way of doing that. Also because it's a lot easier to get your comments, in. You also can watch replays of the show, segments, little reels we put out there as well. So if you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. If you're not, head over to YouTube, give us a follow, and do all those things as well. Yeah,
do that, YouTube. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Tom. All right, it's now time for our creator spotlight guest, who I'm so happy to introduce to y'all who aren't familiar, but you should be familiar. Keef over at the Shay and Sons podcast. Make sure to give him a follow over on Instagram at Shay and Sons podcast, on X at Shay and Sons. Hell, you can throw it over to Keef himself at Kicking with Keef, both on X and on Instagram. The Shay and Sons podcast, they do watch parties. They got interviews. I saw they did an interview with my guy Pat Ragazzo recently. Did a great job over there. Keef and his brother Keith, they do amazing work. So again, subscribe over on YouTube, Shay and Sons. And with that said, let's pull them up. What's going on, Keef? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
We're doing good.
We were good until Joe started talking crazy about Bobby Witt being MVP.
I heard that, man. Bobby Witt's cute. It's cute. It's a nice story, but I mean, Judgy's on another planet right now. I mean,
Thank you.
I like Bobby Witt though.
He's great.
I love Bobby Witt.
Yeah,
Judgy's just on another. I don't know what's going on with Judgy. They got to check his bat. I don't know. Check the piss, check the bat. Something's going on with Judgy, but he's out of his mind right now. But shout out to you. I appreciate the invitation. So thank you. Very honored. This is a very, very lovely, lovely group you guys have here. Thank you all, guys. If you're not following these lovely gentlemen, please follow them now. Like, retweet, do all that good stuff. Thank you guys again for the invitation. Let's get into it.
I appreciate the plug, but we're plugging Shay and Sons. This is all about Keef. This is all about Keef and what you guys do over there. So we'll start off with this. How did you guys get started? Like, what was the backstory to the beginning days of Shay and Sons?
Okay, so Met fans are gonna love this story. Me and my brother, we're 10 years apart. I'm named after Keith Hernandez. So my household is very pro-Met, right? My brother, we're very pro-Met, very pro-Jet. So my brother's named after Keyshawn Johnson. We don't really like Keyshawn Johnson, but that's just how he was there. So whatever. So we're big sports like junkies, right? And I remember in 21, we got Baez and like we were like so invested. It was like since 2019 because like COVID kind of like really ruined everything for everybody. 21, we got Baez and we were like, what is going on? The Mets are fun. Like forget about good. They're just fun. So we were yapping about the Mets and we flamed out, right? And it was like a real like tough pill to swallow. That following winter, Cohen really went into his bag, got Marte, got Canna, got Scherzer, got dude at third base, forgot over the hill dude, forgot his name. Eduardo Escobar, yes.
Oh, that's funny.
So we did a lot of work there and we were really excited, right? So we were talking baseball more than we've ever talked. And mind you, we played baseball our whole lives and we were yapping. And then, that year was magical. We were at the park nonstop. It was just Met baseball like 24/7. It was incredible, 2022. And like, we're over here thinking we're going to the World Series, just like many Met fans did. And we went to all those wild card games. We sat there. Fans are fighting. Fans are throwing jerseys. My brother couldn't take the last game. He left. I stood there like, a crazy Met fan, and it was tough. It was tough. And we were still talking about the Mets, even though we were like down in the dumps. And the day we signed Brandon Nimmo, who I love dearly, we like caught a freaking like a conniption. We lost our minds. We were so angry. We gave him 8 years. We were mad. We were angry. We were fighting with each other, but we were both mad. Like 8 years. He's always hurt. Why 8 years? What are we doing? I like him, but 8 years. And we were just like, you would have thought we had a podcast in the street. And I just said to him, I said, you know what? Maybe we should do this. Like maybe we should just figure this out. Like we talk about them too much. Let's just talk about them to other people. We always wanted to find other Met fans. There weren't a lot of Met fans. Obviously, Met fans know that. Because there's so many Yankee fans and whatnot. So when you find a fellow Met fan, it's always nice to just chop it up with a good Met fan. And man, it literally started because we hated the fact we gave Brandon Nimmo 8 years. And now, fast forward almost 2 years, we love Brandon Nimmo. I mean, he's slumping right now. I think he'll be fine. I hope we're hope and pray, But it started because we were angry. We gave Brandon Nimmo 8 years and we wanted to talk about it. And from there, we just started grinding, learning how to make pictures, learning how to cut videos, learning how to like do audio, learning how to do this whole StreamYard world, learning how to send a DM. Like you'd be surprised. Like sending a DM is even like a whole level of like, professionalism you didn't even know you had to have, right? A decorum that you didn't think you needed. But yeah, little step by steps, even networking and just finding Met fans. That alone was really interesting, that journey, because now I have such a good group of Met fans I could talk to about anything Met related. And I'm talking about, I got like a whole bunch of these, and male and female, which is really cool. I mean, I've gone to like watch parties with a bunch of them at the game, and we always talk about them, and they're always on our streams, showing so much support. Again, thank you to everybody who showed me and my brother so much love. But it's crazy how you start building a community. And I guess you guys can also relate to that when you have kind of regulars and you guys are really like conversing about certain topics, especially maybe about the Yankees, definitely about the Mets and stuff like that. So that's pretty much been the journey. We predicate the Shay and Sons podcast off what me and my brother did that day when we talked about Brandon Nimmo's 8-year contract. We always want our show to be exactly like that day. We want to be raw, we want to be honest, and we want to be free. We we get that doesn't really make you mainstream and that doesn't really put you on the map for anything. And it's probably not the most welcomed setting. But if we get you guys on, right, we want you guys to be as relaxed as possible. If you guys want to come on and tell me how much you think Gleyber Torres sucks, you can do that. It's okay. You want to come on and tell me how much you love Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge it's fine. You want to come on and tell me everything under the sun about Booney. It's all good, because we want it to be like a barbershop setting. Yeah. And, we want people to just feel comfortable to just let loose. And we have given that setting to so many people, and they feel comfortable that it actually begins a lot of dialogue about a lot of different topics. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're providing a little safe haven for people to just kind of maybe move off, take the shell off, and kind of like let loose a little bit and just sit back and just be a fan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's pretty much what me and my brother have tried to provide to everybody. But yeah, man, it's still growing. The journey's, ongoing. We kind of don't have a set schedule because obviously you gentlemen know work kind of gets in the way and stuff. My brother has like a very crazy schedule. So lately we've been doing some watch alongs just kind of to get by and keep the content rolling and stuff. But definitely in the off season, we do player spotlights. We look at prospects. We look at targets. We look at trade possibilities. We look at salary cap. We actually have all those videos. We even did a video, kid you not, and this is for Rich. And I'll send you the link. It's old, but we even did a video in January when there's no baseball going on. We did a Shea and Sons Royal Rumble. And
nice.
We literally live streamed the Royal Rumble match, and we identified Royal Rumble participants towards baseball players. We just kept it flowing. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it fun and everybody to have a good time. So yeah, man, the Shea and Sons podcast is just like, hey, let me go shoot the breeze with those guys. And that's pretty much what we represent.
Keith, I'm going to be honest. We're going to put a pin in this, but I gave Rich a similar type of idea that, Rich, you and I talked about a little while ago, that we might need to bring you on as a guest.
I'm with it.
Royal Rumble time
in
2025. Yeah. I think you'd be a perfect guest for a little thing I was trying to cook up.
Let's do it, man. I'm always there. I love chopping it up, even if it isn't like wrestling or I just love talking sports, man. Anything you guys need, I'm always here, man.
Now, Keef, I got a question for you because we're obviously, in a similar space in terms of navigating the Met fans and Yankee fans. And I say this from a podcast that has to deal with both Yankee Twitter and Met Twitter. There's a big difference, right? Yankee Twitter, and I say this to Rich all the time, Yankee Twitter wants to sing Kumbaya. Everybody wants to be around the same fire, on the same page. They don't like hating on their own players for the most part and all this stuff. Met Twitter is
do a search for DJ LeMahieu and you'll find some
usually when you hate on players, everybody's on the same page on Yankees. You're usually at the point where it is time to go. Yeah. Met Twitter, if Pete Alonso strikes out in the ninth inning, they're sending Pete Alonso on the first rocket ship to Mars. So Met Twitter, and I got to ask you how you feel about this. I feel like there's different. We're dealing with like what's that movie with the split personalities, Split or whatever?
Yeah.
Where there's 10 different versions of Mets Twitter that you can stumble upon, and it seems like they all have an equal portion of the fan base. Let me get your thoughts on that, on navigating that as a Met podcast.
Joe, I love that you brought this. Is actually such a great talking point. Mm-hmm. I'll be quick with the Yankee portion of it because, again, it's like I probably get like maybe 20 to 30% of it. So I can't speak on it totally, and I don't want to represent that side because I don't. And not in a bad way, but like I don't want to misspeak. The Yankee Twitter the Yankee Twitter community that I'm kind of around is like really like just kind of like congregated around like getting rid of Aaron Boone. And it feels like that is like enemy number one. And then it's like Clay Holmes and then Gleyber and then DJ. Like that. And I don't hear nothing about nothing else. They really do support their two big guns. They're kind of sometimes mixy with Volpe, but they kind of support their new darling and rightfully so. Wells been hot. So, like, I see a lot of Wells tweets, a lot of support, big love for Austin Wells. He deserves it. He's playing great baseball. Not to throw any shade to the Yankee community, but I remember the Wolf man, a.k.a. Verdugo, early in the year. He had a lot of people supporting him. I haven't seen a Verdugo tweet in months, and I think rightfully so. So Yankee fans are real.
Verdugo hard hit ball month. So
there you go. So I would say Yankee Twitter is very like kind of quick to understanding what things are happening at the moment. Now, the Met community, and I love my Met community because I figure them out. The Met community is really wherever the wind is blowing, they'll blow the other way. And trust me when I tell you this, it's like this everywhere. So it's very funny to troll the Met community as a Met fan, but I hate Met on Met crime. I have a friend of mine. His name is Ruben. He's always preached, Keef, let's try to like stop Met fans from fighting with one another. Almost entirely impossible because Met fans are so opinionated that no matter what, they'll sit here and fight you no matter what because Met fans just have their belief and that is it. So Pete Alonso is a great talking point. Like you could talk about Pete. There's so many people who love Pete Alonso just because he hits home runs, and that is it. There is no other discussion needed. Oh, he hits a home run. That's it. It stops right there. You can't bring up nothing else. And I love that about the Met community because it's like, well, if I bring this up, oh, nah, but he's going to hit 500 home runs in 4 or 5 years. What are you talking about? And it's just like, okay. So, like, for instance, today, someone literally had the nerve to say this is the worst Mets protection lineup that Pete's ever have. And I'm like, there's no way someone pressed send to that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way a Met fan said, I'm going to press send after saying Pete Alonso is in the worst protected lineup he's ever had. And genuinely, I had to screenshot it and post it because I was in awe. Because you know what? Met fans are amazing. They never stop surprising me. It's like it's on and on and on. Like, in my opinion, and I'll kind of wrap it up here, truly the big points that Met fans love to talk about. Obviously, Francisco Lindor is probably number one, no matter what. But the owner is another one. Yep. And David Stearns has kind of come in and been like a good, like, gray area between like a lot of other talking points because you kind of get a lot of like in between. And the one thing that I've noticed that's been consistent with the Met fans is that it's like David Stearns gets rid of them quick. And I like that. And I like that. And he answers the problems quick. Mm-hmm. Then when you ask the uncomfortable question, which is fair, David Stearns created some of these problems because he's trying to find solutions, which is fine. You want a front office guy to find solutions. Sometimes finding a solution does create a problem. It happens. It's just the law of averages. It's not, he can't, no GM is going to like shoot 100 for 100. Yep. But like the other day I asked, not even the other day, yesterday, I asked a simple question. I was like, will anybody be surprised if Ryan Stanek is like demoted? Because Ryan Stanek, I don't even think Ryan Stanek can get 3 outs right now. And we traded for him. Yep. And it's not something I'm happy to say, but if you say that to a certain Met fan, are you crazy? We just traded for him. David Stearns, what are you talking about? But then you got the other side. It's like, David Stearns keeps messing this shit up. He keeps fixing the things he needs to fix.
Fired.
Exactly. And it's so funny because one day it's that way and the next day is that way. It's always never consistent. And they're funny, but they're so passionate. And that's why I love
50 Shades of Irrational.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'll say Mets Twitter makes even Joe look like a semi-sane person, which says a lot. We see Rich and I see it with the our normal ESB account. You know, we get a lot of Mets and a lot of Yankee stuff, and some of the stuff Mets fans say is just absolutely
it's out there.
It's wild stuff.
Usually, you'll get a good opinion from like a Met account that has like a profile picture from like that's a car or a pet or like a sunset. That's when you know you're getting a real out of field opinion. When you get a Met fan, their face, whatever, they're a little bit more like kind of level headed and stuff, but it varies. It's very, you can literally do an ESPN 30 for 30 study on this.
I will say to the list that you had of the Yankee complaints, I would say I would agree with you if you started from 2 down, because I think the one you were missing is Brian Cashman.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about
Yankees Twitter.
You know what's funny? Cash, I don't think Cash has been that bad, but again, I'm a Met fan, so I won't understand your pain. But I actually think he kind of figures it out eventually. I know it's never like over the top, and I think that's what a lot of Yankee fans want. they want like to get to step 10 before they get to step 7. And he's very like step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And it's like, I know Yankee fans are like, well, when are we going to get to this? You know, when are we going to get what we deserve or what we want? And he's very methodical like that. And that waiting game, I could get why it makes like fans very frustrated. I understand.
Yep. No, 100%. And I have to ask Keef too, because I know Joe and myself are in the same boat. We're both the Mets and Jets fans. So we've endured a lot of crap over the years.
Today's been a day, my brother. Today.
Oh, what a day. The whole Hassan Reddick madness. I mean, one day it's great. The next day it's terrible. But have to ask too, if you could have, I know Joe's asked this question in the past, if you could have divine intervention here, and divine intervention could pick one of your two teams to win it all, the New York Mets in the World Series or the New York Jets in the Super Bowl, which of the two teams are you going to go? I actually have an answer for this, and I'll explain it after you. Yep.
For the rest of your life, only one.
All right. Can I just spin a caveat here? So the Mets are my favorite American team. I'm a big soccer fan. So like my soccer love is like actually above my baseball love. So I tend to say that if I had to pick them, it would definitely be them because they actually like, that's a whole nother discussion, but this is a baseball podcast, so we're going to stick to that. It would, you told me Mets and Jets. I actually have the Knicks above the Jets.
Or Knicks. Okay, we could go.
I'm a bigger Knicks fan than a Jet fan. I feel like I have to defend the Jets more than the Knicks because the Jets are just the Jets.
It's always something.
Yeah, I would prefer watching the New York Mets win a World Series before any of those franchises, and it's only because I want to see that with my dad. My dad named me Keef after Keith Hernandez. I hope and pray that we can see one together. You know what I'm saying? It's been quite a bit. You know, I'm 35. Like, you know, it's like, can I get one with him? Yeah. I understand there's a possibility I won't. And I think it would even want me for them to get one even more if we're unable to watch one together. So definitely them. And definitely the Knicks right after, and then the Jets. I think that the Knicks would cause the city to like bleed for months, honestly.
Yeah. Oh no, the
Knicks would top everything insane.
100%. If the New York Knicks win it all, I mean, you just see this past season. I know obviously they didn't make the full run, but New York City just comes alive when the New York Knicks play phenomenal.
That's when us, Mets and Yankees, can join as one. We do the like go on and Trunks thing. You know what I'm saying? The Dragon Ball Z stuff.
And I'll tell you what, too. This parlays into one more question because this is a great point, too. If you had to pick the king of New York right now, I mean, it has to be Aaron Judge, or is it Mr. Jalen Brunson, considering everything he did?
It's Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry. No offense, guys. It's Jalen Brunson. I'm a Jalen Brunson forever, man. That guy saved my life.
Talk about a free agent signing, because normally they make those signings and it goes wrong. And I loved Melo. I would do the Melo thing 100% of the time, but Jalen Brunson completely.
But Judge is right there. I would say it's honestly, if I had to really break it down, it's Brunson, Judge, and probably a little bit of a gap.
Yeah,
there's a big gap. Those are the two. But I think it's Judge just because of the MVPs, just because of the home run record.
I think for me, what gets it Judge, and I'll throw it right back to you, Joe, is the fact that he is a homegrown player. I think that is. I think that's also a big difference as well. As Brunson was an outside source, and again, what Brunson has done for this Knicks team and shifted Knicks basketball to such a way that they are now in the talking point to being part of the NBA championship conversation is fantastic. I think Judge gets the edge because there are those personal records, but he is a homegrown Yankee. Joe, take it away.
All right. Last question for you.
Yes, sir.
And this is going to stir the pot a little bit.
Let's do it.
As we sit, August 12th, is Juan Soto going to be a Met or a Yankee next year?
He's going to be a Yankee.
You think that he's staying?
We're gonna do everything in our power, but he's not leaving. He's not leaving. You know, I'm gonna tell you why. And I don't know if you guys can relate. You probably can because you probably hear the rumblings with Yankee fans. But he can't get a very good Dominican barber in Queens that he can at the Bronx. That is almost like you can get a good Colombian, maybe Puerto Rican, and they're good, they're great. But He likes his people, and his people treat him very well. The Bronx community, I would sit here and tell you this. A lot of Met fans are not going to like this. They're not. But maybe in my lifetime, I have never seen the Yankees collectively sit here for 1 year and say, let's treat this guy like a god to make sure he does not leave. And I think you guys have done a fantastic job in doing that, because there was a lot of chatter. Oh, what if he goes into a sub? You guys are going to boo him like you boo everybody. You guys haven't done that. And you guys have been outstanding as a community towards him. And I think that it hasn't gotten a lot of credit. And I think that conversation I have not heard at all. I heard it a ton in the winter. And I personally believe that you guys got to get a lot of credit, because the fans really understand that losing him to anyone, forget about the Mets, losing him in general is just not a great look for the Yankee organization. A lot of pieces were moved, and it does affect the future of the organization so much that losing him, in terms of whatever his price will be, it's almost priceless when it comes to the Yankees. You know what I'm trying to say? The worth, it doesn't matter the number at that point. It's so important to retain him, because it keeps that fan base really, really tight. I really feel that way personally. And I like it. And I really envy it, because we, and you guys know this, do not practice that with our players enough. The Met fans don't do that enough. We treat our players well, but we do tend to rip them to shreds, I think, just as much as the Yankee fans, personally. I do it. I'm probably, the first person to do it. So, yeah, I really do think he's going to stay in the Bronx, personally.
All right. Interesting stuff. Well, if you're just joining us, thank you so much. But we are here with Keef over at the Shea and Sons podcast. And as we pull up Keef's card here, again, you can give him a follow at Shea and Sons on Instagram. So Shea and Sons podcast on Instagram, Shea and Sons on X. Kicking It with Keef, you can follow his personal on Instagram and X if you so. And over on YouTube, give him a subscribe at Shea and Sons. Also, I see you're in the TikTok game, Apple, Spotify. Keef, is there anything I missed off your link tree?
No, actually, because it is really my brother. It has had a real difficult work schedule. It's a one-man show commanding all these accounts. So we've kind of just made it predominantly a YouTube show. So we kind of don't really have it on the podcast room. I want to get it back up there. The TikToks have slowed down. So it's really just YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, more or less, but we'll be picking it back up. I actually love what you guys do. I feel like it actually is a little bit of an inspiration for us. I want to get more Met fans joining us and kind of touching on certain platforms and helping us out. It would be a big help, but it also does help other, creators kind of get their brands up. But you guys do a good job of it, man. You guys give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
100%.
We really do appreciate it. We really appreciate the work that you and your brother do over at Shea and Sons. You do a fantastic job, especially the watch parties are fun. I checked into the watch party yesterday. Wasn't the greatest result, but
it got so bad. It got so bad we started talking about movies from 2014. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was really bad.
Well, shout out to the folks here. Aaron Rodgers wanted to throw this out here. Queens baseball. Shout out to y'all. We still don't know if Aaron Rodgers is actually a double agent on the Mets side. That's been the running joke of Twitter, because he jumps in so many different baseball spaces. But shout out to our guy Aaron Rodgers, and then again some new faces here. Fun Humble Guy, who we've seen a few times here now in our chat. Shout out to Fun Humble Guy. Chris Torres is in the building. Shout out to Chris. And my guy Ra. Shout out to Ra, of course. Jazz Rivera in the house. I don't know who gave him that nickname, or me that nickname. All right, more power to you there, Ra. All right, well, let's get into it. We're keeping Keef on, because we haven't done this at all with any of our creator spotlight guests this year, but we do play a game to end our show. And I asked Keef if he wanted to be a part of the game. He obliged. So here we are. We're going to play Trick of the Trade. And in this time around, the hosts are going to go at it. You got comments, all the answers in there. We try to monitor. We're not trying to monitor what's going on in the chat. We're not trying to cheat. But Keef has an important role here. Keef can stop us from gaining a point towards the standings if he knows the correct thing. So, Joe, you're going to go up first here with our first Trick of the Trade. And you put a little bit of an interesting spin on this one. So let's pull up your trade.
Yeah, it's been getting harder to just do Mets and Yankees. So I'm going to do this one here. Does anybody remember Randy Johnson pitching for the Astros? Well, he did. He was traded from the Mariners July 31st, 1998.
The rental, right?
I'm sorry.
It was a rental, right? It was a half a
Yes.
season, right?
It was a rental season. He went
Yes.
10-1 for the
Yes.
Astros. In the return was Carlos Guillen, this player that we're looking for, and a player to be named later, which was John Halama, ended up being. Who is this player who, by the way, has both a Met and Yankee connection?
Oh,
Like that twist to it.
That's why he did it, folks. I asked him too. I was like, we didn't do a Met guy, right? And he's like, well,
can I take a guess?
Absolutely.
That's the point. Yep.
Mike Cameron.
Nope.
Fudge.
Good guess.
3 guesses each.
Okay.
all right. Oh, so Keef is going to be on the K system. Well, all right.
Yes.
K for Keef. Excellent. All right.
Man, Yankee, and he went to the. He was from the Astros organization. And went to the Seattle.
John Olerud.
Nope. Good guess.
Wasn't an Astro.
Oh no.
I don't think he was a Yankee, but JJ Putz.
No.
No.
I think a little early for putts.
Yes.
A little bit. Well, he went to the Mets in 09. Could have been a rookie.
I got another guess. Alex Cora.
No.
He wasn't a Yankee. He wasn't a Yankee. Shit, he wasn't.
So this guy was a Met and a Yankee. Or are you just saying he has connections to the Met and the Yankees?
He was signed by the Mets and the Yankees.
Okay.
Okay. I was
Mike
gonna say,
Stanton, the reliever.
No. Good guess. Getting warmer.
Oh,
Fudge. There's got to be an arm.
John Wetland.
Nope.
No shot.
But
1K for Tom.
I will give the Does everybody have one more guess?
I do. I have one.
So me and Keith have one more. Tom's got 2, and Corey's got 2.
Reliever.
When you're all down to 1, I'll give you another guess.
Seattle. Shoot.
Arth.
I have 1.
Tyler Clippard. No, it's too early for him.
No.
Nope.
Clippard's
Sorry,
gone.
Corey.
Sterling
Yeah,
Hitchcock.
What'd you say, Tom?
That was Rich. I think Rich is right.
Sterling Hitchcock.
Nope.
Oh.
All right, I'm paid out. Paid
All
out.
right. So the rest of us have one more.
It
I
is.
got 2. I holstered my other
Well,
one.
Tom's got 2. Yeah.
Rich
It is a pitcher.
See what this chat looks like. Ooh, there's a couple good
Confirm
ones.
it is a pitcher.
There's a couple good ones.
I got one because of the grid that I play, the Magic grid. Because he's on like every team. Dotel.
No.
It was a good guess.
Good guess.
It
Good
was a
guess.
Yankee. It wasn't Met. I think, so,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm done.
I was gonna
Keith
say
is K'd out.
I was gonna say Arthur Rhodes, but I don't think that's right.
Oh my God, I remember Arthur Rhodes. Holy shit! Oh my
Not
God.
Arthur Rhodes.
Not
Oh, this is a
Arthur.
great question.
it's a
by the way.
Yankee.
All right. So Tom and
He
Corey
wasn't
got
there.
1 each.
Do have a right question, right answer in the chat.
I'm looking at. I figured that this is. Well, actually, there's 2 right now that I'm.
And he didn't necessarily have to be a star on the Mariners either.
Oh
Could've
man,
been
I see
young.
the answer.
There's 2 right there, and I'm like, oh, it could be either one though. I think Chris and Top Bunk are on the right path though.
Oh my God, what a
Yeah,
great,
good-
what a
good guess,
great
too.
question. That's-
Corey-
Armando Benitez.
No.
all
I
right,
gotta see
Corey's
this
out.
chat.
Tom,
All right, Tom.
Down to you.
Okay.
God, it sounded like Hitchcock was such a good guess.
Keith, don't worry, we do one more on the Yankee side. So stick around.
Let's
yeah.
just say
This is so
it
good.
was
Okay.
I'm
Jeff
so mad
Nelson.
at myself.
No. Good
Nelson
guess.
was
What'd you
Mariners. Said Jeff Nelson.
Was that your last?
That was my last. Yeah.
It
All right.
is Freddie Garcia.
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Freddie
the
Garcia.
trick to this question is he did not actually pitch a game for the Mets.
That's
Yep.
He
yeah.
was signed by the Mets, but never actually pitched for the Mets.
Yep.
Great question. That's why I'm kicking myself.
Great job to Chris Torres and Top Bunk who got the guesses in the chat. But even better job to Joe who gets the point though. All right, so now the second one is a Yankee version of it and has no this is a direct Yankee trade here. Let's put that out there. But my deal happened in 2017, so this is a more recent deal here between the Cardinals and the Yankees. The Yankees sent Dietrich Enns and Zach Little. Yes, that Zach Little who pitches for the Tampa Bay Rays now to St. Louis, and the Yankees acquired this one player.
Matt Holliday.
Matt Holliday.
It is not Matt Holliday, and I'm K'ing both of you for that.
Joe gets. Joe
You
keeps
both
it.
said it at
You
the
didn't-
same time. Who do
I said it before Joe, and I would have fought Joe for that. So I get the K.
All right,
All
all
right,
Joe
all
should.
right. Honest, very on. All right, so Joe keeps his no point. Keith,
Yankees got.
Is it Luke Voigt?
it's a great guess, but that's not. It's
No.
not correct.
No.
Not-
Okay.
Jason Shreve is in the Luke Voigt trade.
That was
Okay.
I know that.
All right.
And
Dietrich Ennis. Who the hell? I know Zach Littell's pitching now, but damn.
St.
I liked it
Louis
because he's got Rich in
Cardinals.
his name. That's not why I chose it though.
Clearly getting the
Louis
guy.
This should be like
Cardinals.
easy for me.
This is a bat or an arm, or we can't know.
All right, I'll give you that. So this is an arm, and the funny part is, this is the second time this player was traded that month.
Oh. Alright, so
Okay.
it's getting
2017. Lord.
passed around here.
Second time.
No, well, no, we do have a correct guess in the chat, so keep the chat off your tab here. I will just say that, but there is a correct guess in the chat.
God, I mean, that team was.
2017.
The only
I'm not-
pitcher I could think of with y'all is Lynn. That's
Incorrect.
the only one.
Great
Oh, good
guess though.
guess.
That is a good
Oh,
guess.
Yeah, he was a Cardinal.
That's the
And I
only
think
one
he
I
was
could
the
think of.
subject of one of the games we played recently.
I feel like he's traded every day too. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
I want to say like
Keith's got one more. Joe's got 3. Tom's got 2.
I want
Corey,
to say like Chad
Not
Green.
three.
incorrect.
pitcher.
It's not.
No,
It's
I will
not
say it's not.
Sonny
It's not a.
We got Sonny Gray from the Reds. You know,
I was
he's there
thinking
now.
the same.
It's
but
not.
he's
that your
there
guess?
now.
It's not. No, I said it's not him.
Yeah,
It's
he's
not
there
him.
now.
Yeah.
We
Fair enough.
traded-
You guys trade with the Cardinals.
I
all
will
the time.
say that this pitcher at this point was an established pitcher. It wasn't like this is a minor league guy that became something.
You guys always trade with this team too, bro. I feel like
Yeah, we got like 3 teams we just trade with constantly. Pirates. being one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. Pirates.
Keith's the K away. Joe's 2 away. Tom's 2 away. Corey, nothing on the board.
This isn't Montgomery,
This is a
right?
tough one.
It's too early for Montgomery. 2017? No way. No way.
I won't count that as a legitimate
on.
guess.
Montgomery was way later.
And we trade him to St. Louis. Vader.
Oh yes, that's right. Opposite.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm blanking on 2017 Yankees. This was
Yeah, I
that
know.
fun year too. This was
That was the
fun
key
year.
year.
It's a fun year.
So who'd they acquire from?
Oh my god.
I feel like the 2 trades. I feel like this guy came from the A's. I feel like it was something like A's to Cardinals to Yankees.
Forget the case. We might have to do a time limit here.
Did this guy pitch good against the Mets?
I'm sure he did at some point.
I know who
Right.
it is. Lefty.
Maybe.
His name is Jamie Garcia.
That's correct.
Oh,
Jaime
good
Garcia
guess.
is the correct
Yeah,
answer.
We doubled up on the Garcias.
Good.
I don't know, is that legal?
That guy used
I
to
don't know if
kick
that's
the
legal. I
Mets'
might throw a
ass.
Apparently
flag
it
for
is.
that. I don't think
I was trying to
do
think
like
of that
this.
Lance Lynn ballpark.
Yes,
and
it is
Garcia
Jaime
was the guy I couldn't
Garcia.
think of.
For
Jaime,
Jaime. Jaime Garcia.
Well,
Yes,
penalize
a
it for the
rental.
I'm throwing
to
a
say
flag
the
for
least,
double Garcias. Can't
for
have
that
that.
2017 team. So I don't get. So Keith stole the point. So I can't get it. No one can. So good job on you, Keith. Joe walks away with the lone point for today. So he is out of last place now. He's tied with me for 3rd. And we'll keep this thing moving on to next week. But Keith, great job there with the Jaime Garcia poll.
Yeah.
Somebody, thank you. Somebody said that was the fun year. That's the year where all the kids were playing, right?
It was a
Yeah,
fun year.
that was the
Was
fun
that
year.
the
It ended
year-
very sadly. But
That's
yeah,
the year you traded Chapman away to get something back, and then you re-signed Chapman
No, so that
later,
was the
right?
year.
We signed-
That was the year. So 16 was the year where they made all the moves for 17 to be set up for that year.
Yeah.
And then they
Right.
made their
traded
their
Chapman
ALCS
for
run.
Gleyber Torres. No,
17 was
There you go.
52 for
Jamie Garcia.
Yeah.
Yep. So great job, Top Long.
Great guess.
LI, Hitman. Yes, Garcia was correct. 2 Garcias. Who would have thought? But that's it. I mean, good job, guys, and great job, Keith. And we will send you off here on this note once again, folks. Make sure to give Keith a subscribe and his brother over at Shay and Sons on YouTube, Instagram, Shay and Sons Podcast, X, Shay and Sons. You can follow Keith himself at Kicking It with Keith both on X and on Instagram. And again, they do such a great job. The content's amazing. The watch parties are a great time. And hell, if you even enjoy just interacting with somebody who's a huge wrestling fan like I am, there's a lot of wrestling influence to what Keef's got going on. He's wearing the CM Punk shirt and missing Monday Night Raw for Empire State of Baseball. So shout out to Keef. Thank you very much. Any parting words while we lead you off?
Hey man, listen, it's truly an honor to be invited to anyone's platform. So I want to thank you guys. Anybody who's in the chat who isn't following these gentlemen, please follow them, give them a like, give them a retweet, send it to your fellow Met and Yankee friend. These guys need more Met fans, I'm hearing. So hello, where my Met people at? Listen, if you're tired of hearing me and my BS, here you go. 2 brand new Met content creators to truly pick their brains about. Because Met fans, I will say this, Met fans are really, really good at listening to all the podcasts and picking their favorite ones. So check these guys out, man. Show them some love. Always put all content creators over. I have a bunch of friends that, do the content stuff. I give them big shout outs all the time. So it's very, very nice to have you guys in the mix. Yeah, man, appreciate you. And let's grow the community. You know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of support one another. That's something that I always push. Whether you hate me or not, always, go love the other guys and stuff like that. That's something that we always preach.
Same over here. We have no problem ever supporting or promoting anybody's events, projects going on. And this is what the Creator Spotlight's all about. It's literally public-facing networking as it should be. Shay and Sons, you guys do a fantastic job. Make sure to subscribe and follow. Keith, thank you so much.
Yeah, man. You guys again soon. Yes, man. And Rich, hey, we gotta talk wrestling.
Yes, sir. You got it. Enjoy Raw. Take care, people. That is Keith, ladies and gentlemen. That was awesome. And it was great to see the Mets community come out here. I saw a bunch of guys in there, from Mez to Chris, Top Bunk. Thank you guys for showing up for us tonight. Really appreciate it. And we hope to retain the Mets following for next week. One of the biggest premises and my hope here, Tom probably has the best heart, but looks like he hates it.
Oh, man.
Come on.
I had to get that off.
Well, Tom goes to get open heart surgery, apparently. Joe, go ahead with our Instagram.
Tom, well, I was going to say, Tom has a 2-year-old at home. So at this point of the day, Tom is pretty tired, is usually the situation that Tom is in. But yeah, so I can talk Instagram, even though Rich messed up behind the scenes. Rich messed this up before, and I'm gonna call him out on it. So yeah, Instagram. I'll take it. I'll still take it.
Sorry, Joe.
I can double. I can double up here.
Joe.
You just want to emphasize Rich's mistake.
Yeah, I just want to just point out how terrible Rich is at essentially everything he does.
Oh, come on.
Damn.
But Joe,
That's
you
bullshit.
can take it if you want.
Such bullshit, but go ahead.
Richard puts all these graphics together. I gotta give him some credit. All right, you can follow us on Instagram because Tom doesn't want to do this one. You can join our 4,900 followers plus and follow at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. You can follow all of us individually at Corey Favs, at JR Pugs, at Rich J. Rivera, and at T. Wospil, all on Instagram. You can check out our segments, meme reels, everything. The game we just played with Keef, we post that up on Instagram, so you guys can take a look at that. And if you missed it, you can play along in the chat on Instagram.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Very good. And extra innings. Yeah, we're a couple minutes late already. Usually go live at 9:15. We'll probably more closer to 9:25 p.m. Eastern time. And although our show is typically hosted by Sierra took PTO today. So no Sierra in the house, but I'll be there. Hopefully Joe, Corey, and Tom will be by my side as well for a little bit of extra innings as we watch along to the Yankees. White Sox. Are the Mets playing tonight? I forgot.
They are thankfully off. They need an off day.
All right, there you go. So they got the much needed off day. And make sure to join us next week, episode 98. That is on Monday, August the 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Currently, I'll be honest right now. I'll pull back the curtain. There's 2 different shows that may happen. There may be an At the Plate with a really special guest, or there might be a segment involving the Olympics. I know we're just getting out of it, but either one of those shows is very possible to happen next week. So we'll keep you posted on all our social media platforms to let you know what exactly is there to expect for next Monday's show. But that's it for tonight's show. We will see you here next week. We'll take it around the room. Tom, Corey, Joe, and I'll wrap this damn thing up. Go ahead, Tom.
Yankees are currently 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position and just not beating the White Sox. So Judge is currently up. They're going to walk him, I guarantee. And I think they just did. And I would like Giancarlo Stanton to hit a grand slam. So I'm going to pre-thank Giancarlo for this grand slam.
There you go. Corey?
I just want to thank Keef for joining us. It was a fun show, and definitely looking forward to chatting him a little more on X.
Thank you for coming, Keef. Thank you for everybody in the chat. You were wonderful today, and we'll see you next week. Did Rich freeze right at the end?
No, I got it. It's all good. We didn't freeze. Don't worry. X, you're not going to kick me off just yet. We'll see you here next Monday. Take care.